Welcome back to BLOCKTV. It is time for Bitcoin Brief, where we break down the top stories from the cryptosphere, and today we are delighted to be joined, I am delighted to be joined by one of the most prolific writers in the scene from Bitcoin Magazine. We welcome Colin Harper, who is the associate editor of Bitcoin Magazine. Hello, Colin.
How you doing, man? Happy to be here. And believe me, the light's all mine.
Yeah, I mean, shucks, it's the meeting of two unstoppable force, immovable object, etc. So we got a few headlines. We're going to go through them here. I want to get your take on them. First of all, let me ask you, what can you tell me about Async and its recent fundraising?
Yeah, so this is a really nice story to have. Always love to see development and funding happening on the Lightning Network. Yeah, so Async got this $8 million fundraising round, and it's really nice to see them getting some love because they're one of the oldest development companies working on Lightning in the space, next to Lightning Labs and also Blockstream. And they developed the Claire implementation, nod obviously to the pastry. They're from France, so it's a nice little nod to their culture there. But yeah, so it's great to see that they've got some money coming into the coffers because the Lightning Network really has seen a lot of development and a lot of fundraising in the last year or so. So this is just another story in the bag for that.
So I understand that they have a very specific approach to the Lightning Network. They are developing a very specific addition to the Lightning Network. Can you tell me anything about Eclair specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, it's not too terribly different from C Lightning or Lightning Network Daemon, which are the other two implementations that are primarily being used right now. C Lightning being used being created by Blockstream and Lightning Network Daemon by Lightning Labs. There's not too much difference, Eclair is one of the more popular ones. Async is also behind the Eclair Lightning wallet for mobile, which was one of the first mobile Lightning wallets, which was a huge boost for the technology. So not too many technical differences besides some pretty abstruse and in the weeds stuff that quite frankly I'm not too qualified to talk about.
Sure, I won't put you on the spot for any longer, but I understand that we've got stories about people making money, and we got stories about people who are at risk of losing quite a lot of money, right? So we've got a story here about Bitfinex and Tether maybe being sued for quite a bit of money.
Yeah, good transition there. I mean, this is a kind of crazy story. So in this, the guys who actually sued Craig Wright on behalf of Ira Kleiman in Florida, which that lawsuit is wrapping up as well, they're basically leading a class action against Bitfinex and Tether for alleged market manipulation, racketeering, and even money laundering. Very bold claims. They seem to take the bait on the fact that Bitfinex and Tether, manipulated the Bitcoin market by printing Tether that weren't actually backed by dollars, and then making a bunch of market buys with, printed money on open markets. Whether or not this will go anywhere, it's for anyone to decide. I think they'll probably end up just settling outside of the court, and these plaintiffs will end up getting a lot of money. But they're suing them for like $1.4 trillion. And for perspective, Goldman Sachs has roughly $1 trillion under management. And so, I mean, they're asking for an absolutely astronomical sum, which, shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
I get it, because moon is a thing that we say. Okay, listen. Now you got these folks. They're asking for quite a bit of money. I guess it would be quite the PR snafu if it were to go to court. So you're saying that there is an increased chance of them probably settling outside of court. Is that right?
I think probably. I mean, I'd be shocked if this thing really made it through the ringer entirely. Mm-hmm. Some of the takes I saw on Twitter were insinuating as much, where it's like, look, the lawyers here are smart. This might go to court, but if it goes to court, there's no way, number one, that they're going to get $1.4 trillion because Bitfinex and Tether doesn't have that much money. And also, to me, if we want to get a little snarky about this, oh, boo-hoo, you guys lost money in the bear market. Everyone lost money in the bear market. That's what happens.
Right.
And quite frankly, the connection between Tether manipulating the market is just so tenuous, because new tethers are printed before Bitcoin increases in price. Well, why is that? Well, it's because people are buying Bitcoin with Tether, right? Maybe I've drunk the Kool-Aid a little bit, but it seems to make sense to me. Is Tether maybe doing some shady stuff behind the scenes? Probably. I wouldn't trust them with my money. But so far, I have no reason to believe that they are doing anything, that would, they are not doing anything that I would say is leading to some grand conspiracy of multi-billion-dollar market manipulation, because Bitcoin is extremely liquid. There are over-the-counter markets all across the world. And I just find it hard to believe that one entity could move the market to the extent that they have. That's not to say that they're not maybe engaging in some market manipulation tactics, because we know, I think it was JP Morgan recently got fined for fixing gold markets, right? So they can fix individual markets conceivably. But this idea that they're leading this pump and dump scheme on Bitcoin's entire market just seems like a fantasy to me. And that's why I think that this lawsuit will probably be settled outside of the courts, and that these plaintiffs will probably get some money out of Bitfinex. $1.4 trillion worth, though? I don't think so.
And speaking of the plaintiffs, which are the ones who are doing the suing, if my legal parlay is correct, then you said that they're the same ones who sued Craig Wright, yeah? So, what are the odds of them going after a third party after this? Are they just...
Well, so not the plaintiffs themselves, but the lawyers representing the plaintiffs yeah, exactly. They were the ones who went after Craig Wright. I don't know, man. They seem to be making a name for themselves in the Bitcoin industry. So, bad and good things come in threes. So we'll see who's next.
I look forward to the made-for-TV movie about them and their super duo-ness. But we're gonna move forward, talking about QuadrigaCX. Talking about more money. It's always the money I find in the cryptocurrency field that we're talking about here. So we're talking about QuadrigaCX, talking about the widow of the founder who is now dead, thus making her the widow. That's how that works. So what can you tell me about this headline? Please save me.
Yeah. So this was the most recent news out of this saga, and you're just talking about how it's always about the money. Obviously people and news follow the money. And this saga kind of fell out of the news cycle for a while because there wasn't much to report on. People's interests are fickle. But so for those who don't know, QuadrigaCX was Canada's most popular Bitcoin and cryptocurrency exchange. It went under at the beginning of this year following the alleged death of its founder, Gerald Cotton. And it turns out that they didn't have any of the assets they said they did. And they owed the creditors up to $190 million worth of both hard cash and cryptocurrencies. And so what we found out in this most recent news was Ernst & Young, which was originally appointed to be the courtroom monitor for the case, is now the overseer of bankruptcy proceedings. And basically what this says is the court has ordered that Jennifer Robertson, Gerald Widow's Cotton, like you said, has to forfeit some $9 million worth of assets that were purchased with bad money from Quadriga. So this is $9 million out of the outstanding $190 million debt that the exchange theoretically owes its former users. So, she's going to have to sell these assets, some of which are property, some of which she already sold. In my prior reporting, there were accounts of her selling a yacht and a few other properties, or trying to listing them for sale and trying to sell them. So she's going to have to liquidate these to pay off creditors, and there'll be a little bit of relief. But again, I mean, that's less than what, 5% of everything that they actually owe. So it'll be interesting to see where we go moving forward. And Jennifer Robertson's kind of washed her hands of this. She said, I didn't know that this was bad money. I thought that it was all legitimate proceeds from Gerald's business.
You hate to see it. You hate to see such a tragedy followed by financial turmoil of a theoretically innocent person. But, that's the world we live in. Colin, I thank you very much for joining me today. It's been great. Good to finally talk to you. See the man behind
the... Good to talk to you too, Zach. Appreciate it.
The couch situation.
Been waiting for a round with the Sonic Wombat for a while.
Well, anyways, you came out on top. 12 rounds, prize fight. It's Colin Harper, everybody. Go read his shit. And for all your cryptocurrency news, we're BLOCKTV.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.